This is just beyond beautiful. This is the good life.
I'm setting off on a little trip to celebrate the best life has to offer.
Everything's beautiful, Ivan.
Beautiful.
The Italians talk about la dolce vita.
What is La Dolce Vita? Are we living it now? Is it here?
The French,
La belle vie. La belle
Et les
vie.
bons vivants.
it's what inspires us, what makes us happy.
Well, this is fun.
It's about great food and drink and fabulous company.
Basically, in an Italian dream here.
We are in Italian life. This is not a dream.
Appreciating glorious culture,
Just kind of throbs with energy and dynamism, radical and romantic and wild and dangerous.
world-class art,
I really think this is just gonna blow your mind.
soaking up landscapes that lift the soul.
Great. Oh, I could get used to this.
From Paris to the sparkling possibilities of the south of France.
It kind of feels like you've walked into a diamond here. It's just so stunning.
The splendour of Venice, the treasures of Florence,
It almost brings me to tears. So beautiful.
the stunning Amalfi Coast, and finally, of course, all roads lead to Rome.
Catch me if you can.
It'll be quite an adventure.
I'm enjoying it a bit too much. It's just heaven.
Why don't you join me? Paris, and the first essential stop on our cultural adventure. As Audrey Hepburn once said, Paris is always a good idea.
I've always just loved this place.
Its confident devotion to elegance and glamour is so inspiring. And when in Paris, what better way to travel than in a French classic? Delightfully, I have a Citroën DS waiting for me. Life is beginning to feel pretty good. The DS is just so very French. An icon since the 1950s, I adore its style. It's a pretty dreamy way to take in the sights of one of the world's most fabulous cities. Pronounced déesse, a pun on the word in French for goddess. How appropriate. Gliding past the Arc de Triomphe, I could be in a classic French movie, with street corners like film sets. You can't help noticing the Parisiennes look so super stylish and full of joie de vivre.
I first came to Paris in my 20s to immerse myself in its art and culture and to meet someone I was completely infatuated with. And I just fell in love with the city and its delights, and I feel as passionate about it now as I did then. Basically, it was the start of an affair.
And as the glorious sights roll by, the River Seine, Notre Dame and the Eiffel Tower, it's not hard to see why people adore this city. I intend to immerse myself in the best that Paris has to offer. So I've booked into L'Hôtel, one of the most romantic places to stay on the fashionable, artsy left bank.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, really great.
You will,
Thank you.
you will be staying in room 62 in
Amazing.
the 6th floor.
Amazing.
Have a good stay.
I will.
Thank
I
you.
will. Thank you so much. So there's a particular reason I've chosen this place. It's where Oscar Wilde, who's the poet and playwright and amazingly brilliant mind, he came to stay here at the end of his life. Oh, God, look at this. Wow, that's fantastic. So it's somewhere I know there's a ton of history here. It looks super glamorous, but originally when he was here, we could have seen courtesans advertising their wares, leaning out to invite people in.
Oscar was a cultured man, determined to live life his own way, and Paris certainly let him do that. In fact, he spent his final days here, attempting to live the good life till the very end, famously saying, "I am dying beyond my means." L'Hotel claims to be the first ever boutique hotel, and such pleasure seekers as Mick Jagger and Robert De Niro have also laid their heads here.
Okay, I think this is my room. Gonna spend a night with a cardinal in there. Look at this. Oh, hello. Definitely have a bath. Wow. Wow, this is not too bad, is it? I am a very, very lucky woman. It looks fantastic.
So while dear old Oscar closed the last chapter of his life in this hotel,
Here's Paris.
it's the start of my enriching journey. And I can't wait.
That is a city waiting to be explored.
So let me get my trusty notebook out, you'll be seeing a lot of that, and do some planning.
So I'm looking at this map of Europe because I'm really interested in this thing that used to happen called the Grand Tour. Originally, aristocrats, male aristocrats from Britain, would be kind of sent off to Europe to discover themselves. As time went on, women joined them too, and it was a really liberating thing for women to be able to do. And the idea is that you'd come to soak up art and culture and kind of immerse yourself in the good things of life. They went to a lot of parties, they drank a lot, they had affairs, but they also looked at a lot of art. It was liberation of all kinds.
I was inspired to do the same as soon as I'd saved up my pennies.
So that's me in Paris.
And Paris was the first stop on that tour too.
And it gets a bit hotter by the time I get down to Italy.
I remember crazy nights in cafes and cabarets, soaking up the atmosphere. Days spent in museums and galleries, immersed in art, in my insatiable search for culture and adventure.
I just came with not much in a sketchbook, and I found the sketchbook recently, so I thought I'd kind of bring it back to its home. Some of them are terrible. Some aren't too bad. I went to the Louvre and I just spent days and days and days and days there sketching. Lots of hot naked women, which is what Paris does particularly well in sculpture form, is what I remember.
I've returned to the Louvre many times since that first visit. Coming here just makes life worth living. So it's where I'm heading this morning. It's the world's biggest museum, home to masterpieces like the Mona Lisa and treasures from Egypt. Originally a royal palace dating from 1546, it was extended by pretty much every French monarch.
This is actually one of the oldest bits of the original palace, and it's where people would come to use it as a kind of reception room, a party venue, basically. So there were concerts here and plays. Musicians used to be up in that gallery there. You know, I've probably spent weeks of my life, if you added it up, here in the Louvre, coming to see all these beautiful, beautiful pieces.
There are countless treasures here, but there's one sculpture I just have to show you. I fell instantly in love with her when I first met her, and if anything, she means even more to me today.
So this is Venus de Milo, goddess of love and sex and female beauty. So completely captivating. She kind of draws you to her like a moth to a flame.
Over 2,000 years old, but lost and found just 200 years ago on the Greek island of Milos, this goddess has certainly been through the wars.
She was found completely by accident. The sort of story goes that there was a farmer who noticed a bit of her torso sticking out from underneath a bush, and then he realised that kind of part of her body had been used by Romans to make a wall at some point. I love her because she's imperfect, you know, she's armless, and yet we can still think of her as this exquisite being.
She's a reminder there are many ways to be beautiful. It's okay not to be perfect.
I always think she's sort of imagining the conquests that she's made and the fact that she decides whether women and men and men and men and women fall in love with each other or not. She's sexy, but she's definitely in control.
Venus encourages us to have a passion for who we are and what we do. The French sculptor Rodin said of her, "Real goddess, thou art alive, thou art woman. Therein lies all thy glory."
And you can't really argue with that, can you?
It's been such a treat coming back to this wonderful gallery. A reminder to appreciate just how stimulating art is and how it can lift the spirit and soul. Paris is often referred to as the city of light, la ville lumière, because it played a leading role in the Age of Enlightenment. For centuries, it's attracted some of the world's greatest thinkers, and their ideas were cultivated right here. Parisian cafes are an institution. None more so than the legendary Les Deux Magots, named after these two guys who've been here since the cafe was founded. If you're here, you have to order the classic Parisian breakfast.
Merci. Fantastic. Thank you, merci. That is a great start to the day. So a café crème and a croissant.
I still remember tasting my first petit déjeuner.
So this is one of the most famous cafes that there is in Paris. And it was a real centre for artists and thinkers. People drank a lot of coffee here, and they dreamt up all kinds of new and exciting ideas and kind of discussed how the world should be. There's a particular reason I've chosen this seat to sit in. It's because this was the corner where one of my complete heroines, Simone de Beauvoir, used to sit. So that's her over there in that photograph. She was here often with her partner, Jean-Paul Sartre, and they were basically the kind of it couple of the day who dreamt up these incredible radical ideas. She wrote a book called The Second Sex, which was all about empowering women. And that's one of the things about the cafe culture in Paris. It isn't just about your first caffeine hit of the day, great though that is. It's about having time to discuss new, exciting ideas and kind of dream up new ways of being. And the cafe's pretty good as well.
And after my classic French breakfast, what better way to enjoy the city than a stroll along some of its gorgeous boulevards? And look what I stumble across. You just couldn't make it up. Clearly, Paris is about outer beauty as well as beauty of the mind. Parisiennes can be intimidatingly chic.
One of the reasons for that is right the way back in the 17th century, Louis XIV presided over this super stylish court.
The king and his courtiers wore extraordinarily flamboyant and expensive clothes. Everyone wanted them. Then Louis, very shrewdly, invested in their design and manufacture, and the legend of French fashion was born. So anyone starting their grand tour would come to Paris to be kitted out. I'm off to meet someone who still embodies that tradition, a true fashion icon.
He's been described as the world's king of shoes.
Christian Louboutin, I'm sure, will be able to tell me why stylish footwear is one of life's great joys. Christian was sketching shoes by the time he was 10. His early customers included Princess Caroline of Monaco, and now everyone from Beyoncé to Lady Gaga has a pair of Louboutin high heels. I met Christian at a party once, and we've remained firm friends.
What are you doing here?
I'm in
I thought you were in
Paris.
the-
Amazing.
Oh.
Amazing to see you. How
Yes.
cool. And I have a terrible confession. I've never actually come into one of your shops.
Really?
before, so this is
Never?
perfect. No. How is that possible?
This is the first one, actually.
Was
You are
it?
basically in the historical place because I started the company by a store, and it was that store.
Right
Yeah,
here.
yeah. 31 years ago now.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. And now you've got 3. Yes. Oh, it's just beautiful. I mean, look at these.
A lot of things are made really just for pleasure.
Yeah, totally.
Thank God.
Thank God. Because anybody needs pleasure, don't
No,
they?
but you know, I remember there was this client who came and she looked at the shoe, which was like all light pink. She went to it like this, and she grabbed it and she said, "Oh my God, it's so useless. I absolutely need it." And I love that, you know.
Yes. I mean, where do you dream up all of this?
I sort of isolate myself to really do the drawings. But I have my studio here where I'm working. You've never been here, so you've never been to my studio. Do you want to come for a second?
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, I'll take you.
This is such a treat. Amazing.
It's not so far.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, merci. Look at this. So this is it.
Bonjour.
So you can kind of smell the creativity here. These will be the kind of new collections that you're working on down here, I guess.
This is it. So this is basically, this is my studio.
I can see that this is a place of inspiration.
Christian was brought up in a working-class district of Paris and had a rebellious youth, discovering punk in the 70s and running away to India and Egypt in his teens.
I'm very inspired by things, conversation, people, object, history, nature, etc. But traveling has always been important for me. Important to culture yourself, but very important. If you don't mix, you don't understand other people's.
Yeah.
So it's important for me, and I think it's important when you create. If you're working out of pleasure, it goes through your work. I have to feel good, I have to feel happy. There is something effortless. If there is too much pain, you also give the pain. You know, I'm based on the pleasure side.
What a beautiful thought, though, that your pleasure and your love ends up on somebody's body, and then they kind of take that pleasure and love on with them to their life. Has Paris made your work what it is too?
Yes, definitely. I understand that a lot of people are thinking that Parisians are arrogant. And it's, in a way, it's true, because you know as a fact that you're living in such a beautiful city. Parisians think that Paris is the most beautiful city in the world. Parisians are in love with the city.
Certainly feels like it's a city where you are physically living in beauty. Feels like it right now. Sitting here feels like the centre of beauty.
I have to give you something as you're here.
Oh, you're so smooth. That is so lovely.
Something to read.
Merci bien. Thank you.
Christian's clearly inspired by Paris. It's a city that's taught him and me not just to live life, but to love the living of it. Now, how about a spot of lunch? It's a meal that's sacred for the French. a quick sandwich at your desk is considered sacrilege. Luckily, the Valentin Brothers restaurant is on hand. It's been creating quite the buzz in town, and not a steak tartare or coq au vin in sight. Restaurants were invented in Paris back in the 16th century. The word means to restore, because, as the French say, food restores body and soul. And that's certainly something David and Adrienne believe in passionately.
You two don't know this, but you are my complete heroes and saviours, because I've come to Paris so many times as a vegetarian, and sometimes people have refused to serve me in restaurants for being vegetarian. Let's dive in and tell me what we've got in front of us.
The starter is it's a marinated salami tofu, a pepper from south of France. Just a little touch of spicy with lime, agave syrup and black pepper.
How delicious. Really creamy, so it is total pleasure here.
Of course, of course.
When we think of Paris, why do we think of delicious food and drink? You know, why is it something that the French do so well?
The social aspect of food and the pleasure of food is so rooted into the French culture.
We are talking about food
All the time, all the time, literally all the time.
So this one, white rice with I make cream from pepper and tomato with garlic and smoked paprika.
Oh my God, that's so delicious.
And that's just cherry on the top. It's eating healthy.
Got my eye on that dessert as well.
This one is only for you.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna.
It's a feast for the eyes.
It's a French patisserie with the taste of the almonds and with fresh fruits.
Beautiful. And it's a work of art. You're even saying it's going to be good for me.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So it's almost guilt-free pleasure.
Almost.
Almost, exactly.
Got such a sweet relationship, you two. It's so sweet. Should we do a toast to the good life? What would you call it in French?
La belle vie.
La belle vie. La belle
Et les
vie.
bons vivants.
Thank you for this. Heaven. Total heaven.
Paris is a city of art and culture and fabulous food, but it's also a place of liberation. I'm on the trail of Josephine Baker, a black American woman who flourished here in the 1920s in the bohemian world of cabaret.
This is the haunt of a woman who's a complete heroine of mine and an icon. I mean, actually, she's beyond iconic. And in the 1920s, she smashed so many barriers here. And her son's in rehearsal, and he's invited me in to have a chat. Hi. Can I come in? Thanks.
Hello,
Hello.
Bettany.
Hi.
Bienvenue à la nouvelle ère.
You must be Brian.
Yeah.
Brian is just one of 12 children who Josephine Baker adopted, and he's consulting on a show to honour the extraordinary life of his mother.
What an incredible experience to be here, watching somebody reimagining the life of your mum, Josephine, who I've got to say is, I'm just in awe. She's such a massive heroine for me.
Josephine Baker arrived in Paris from New York when she was just 19. Her performances set the city alight, and she quickly became the it girl of the day. Raised in poverty, Baker went on to become one of the first black women to achieve international acclaim.
She was such a pioneer. If you think what she did at that time as a woman and as a woman of colour, it's unique, really, what she achieved. But Paris then did adore her. I mean, you know, this was a city, it really did allow her to do her work and embrace her.
Yes, when she left New York, all of a sudden, it was a success, it was love. She became in 2-3 weeks a star in Paris.
She made the brave choice to become a spy in World War II and a civil rights activist in the 60s.
There is, of course, proudness for what she has done in her life. But we look at her first as a mother, and not as an heroine or as an artist.
I'm sort of searching for la dolce vita, the good life, the good things of life. Why was it important what your mum chose to do in the world?
Let's say that, art, dance, music, drinks, meetings, love affairs. It's part of the fun of life. My mother had a big energy for life, for having fun.
I say to fun, to life, and to Josephine Baker.
Thank you for the memory of my mother.
Oh, salut.
And cheers, salut. Santé. in fact.
Santé.
Santé.
It seems like the spirit of Paris, its sheer joie de vivre, can inspire people to do great things. Sadly, my time here is nearly up, but I'm going to say au revoir to the city in a fabulous way.
Lovely to see you. Been such a long time. It's been too long.
Christian Valdevere is a movie producer and quite the bon vivant. He says this is the best way to see Paris and that we're going to toast the city's most iconic site.
So look, Christian, I mean, this is ridiculously romantic.
We must be in love.
We must be in love.
What better way to drink in the sights than with the most classic of French treats,
Super.
champagne.
Coco Chanel has this brilliant thing about champagne. She says, I only drink champagne twice in my life. When I've fallen in love, or when I'm not in love.
From our boat, we're able to appreciate the magnificent buildings that line the Seine and bid au revoir to my beautiful Louvre. And finally, la crème de la crème rolls into view.
Look at this, sorry. That is poetry in motion. That is so beautiful.
It was all planned. It is.
I mean,
It is
Christian-
some building that I have heard about. Yes. Yes. Somebody
You
told me about it. Yeah.
There's this thing in Paris. I mean, that
Whatever it is, yeah.
that is pretty stellar, isn't it? Here's to Paris and to old friends
And to all friends. And to love.
and to love.
I'm on my way to the Côte d'Azur in this fabulous old Citroën. It's been a while since I've driven one of these. I'm going via the Alps. It's a chance to breathe in healthy air and to be inspired by the natural beauty of the mountains and lakes.
places in the Alps. It's called Lake Annecy. Actually, it's been lots of people's favourite places, and the great and the good have all headed here. And in particular to the place I'm planning to stay, which is called, delightfully, the Imperial Palace Hotel. Not a bad view.
One painter I really admire was drawn to this spot to capture the different moods the lake reflects.
Paul Cézanne, post-impressionist master, came here on holiday in 1896 and painted this beautiful, beautiful image. It does have drama, you know, there are incredible colours here. So I think this is actually a really true memory of this place.
The quaint lakeside settlement of Annecy, with its networks of canals, was originally built around the textile trade. The railways reached it in the 19th century, which turned it from a working town into a place where anyone with a train ticket could come to enjoy its stunning scenery.
So you certainly can see why they call this place the Venice of the Alps. So you've got these three canals that lead down into the lakes, these beautiful medieval buildings on. That one was built in the 12th century, originally as a little castle and prison, and it's basically been everything. So it's minted coins, and they're very fond of it here because they think it looks like a little boat on the water.
The town's charming, but it's the peace and tranquility of the lake that really draws people. And one of the visitors seeking inspiration and solace from the natural beauty of Annecy is none other than Queen Victoria, who came here on a sketching holiday.
And she took a steamer boat out onto the lake, and she writes about it. You can tell she was just having such a lovely time because she talks about the tea that was brought to her and the fact it was really difficult to sketch because the landscape and the weather kept on changing, and painted this, I think, pretty good watercolour. So it was April, so there was more snow on the mountains then. But it's actually really touching because we know that when she was here, doing this, really loving it, loving being here and kind of relaxing a bit, she was also getting these communiques and dispatches from the battles that were going on in Afghanistan between Britain and Russia. So you really feel that this is somewhere that gave her, it kind of gave her her peace of mind. We also know that this is somewhere where Queen Victoria could actually enjoy herself as a woman. So she'd slip off to a nearby town called Aix-les-Bains under a pseudonym and take the waters. So it was somewhere she could literally let her hair down and be herself, be just a private person for once, rather than a queen.
Like Queen Victoria, I find this lakeland paradise a balm for my soul. But the warmer climes of the south and the idyllic charms of Provence are beckoning me. I remember watching films like Jean de Florette when I was young and just falling in love with the idea of Provence. It's almost mythical to the French, a glorious region where the climate and rustic beauty combine to create a particularly blissful nirvana. The clear skies, the beautiful landscapes, amazing food and lovely villages, the epitome of the French good life. The hilltop town of Vence was originally an ancient Roman settlement. Its narrow cobbled streets and vaulted alleyways are just a delight to wander around. The bewitching charm of this place meant many great artists chose to come here to escape the memory of World War I in the 1920s.
People like Chagall and Matisse and a man called Dufy, really big names.
It turns out that I have a personal connection to this idyllic place. 100 years ago, my great-great-aunt thought her days were numbered, so she upped sticks and moved out here to spend her last few years in the sunshine.
So this is the plasticaire here.
She opened a pottery shop and changed her life forever.
I think this must be it. This door's become that window. And then that's the same window up there without the shutters. Totally incredible to find this place. It's just making me really think about what it would have been like for her here. For me, what this woman was this kind of really eccentric figure. So she had these terrible stomach pains. She thought she was dying, and she decided that rather than die in kind of rainy, grey England, she would come out here to sort of end her life under the beauty of this sun, you know, with all these amazing smells and sights around.
The good life in Vence worked out really well for my great-great-aunt. And as I tuck into this gorgeous ripe brie, I think it's working for me too. She gets her health back, but is also befriended by the group of world-famous artists and writers who lived here. Seeking sanctuary after World War I, they all seem to have had an idyllic time together. They even called her, affectionately, Auntie.
How brilliant to think of her out here, right at the heart of this circle of all the greatest artists of the day. Then people who write about her in their letters, so Aldous Huxley and H.G. Wells, and we hear about her from D.H. Lawrence's wife. So, you know, she obviously lived an incredibly fulfilling life here.
I'm wondering if any of the locals know anything about her.
Hi. Hi, sorry, I know I'm looking a bit mad. So this is my great-great-aunt, and this was her shop here. Did you ever hear about her?
Yes, the English lady.
I wonder if they thought she was a bit, you know, a bit mad. I think she was quite eccentric. I think she was quite unusual.
Un petit peu folle.
Folle.
No.
Folle. No.
English.
Yeah. Well, that is a little bit mad, isn't it?
Great-great-aunt had this shop.
Your great-great-aunt?
Yes. On me parlait toujours de l'anglaise qui avait... Et la propriétaire de la maison était mon arrière-grand-tante.
Really?
3 maisons.
That is so brilliant. So your great-great-aunt rented this shop to my great-great-aunt. The great-great-nieces together.
Yes, together.
Together after
yes.
100 years. What a beautiful place you live in here.
Yes. And Bettany too.
Oh, merci.
I just love travelling by train. Plenty of time to sit back, watch the world roll by and dream. Arriving into the sparkling sunshine of Nice feels very glamorous, a welcome assault on the senses.
When you come here, there are 3 things that hit you. So there's this amazing scent. I wish you could smell it. So you can smell pine and olive trees and jasmine. Of course, the colours. I mean, look at that blue in the curve of the bay down there. And the lights, because it kind of feels like you've walked into a diamond here. It's just so stunning.
The Greeks settled here close on 2,500 years ago and named Nice after the goddess Nike, not the brand. It's got a fascinating old quarter where the colours and architecture are a heady mix of France and Italy. It's actually France's 5th biggest city, and its thousands of bars and restaurants make for a buzzy atmosphere. But it's the Promenade des Anglais and the sensuous curve of the coast that give it a really special allure. Many artists have found their greatness here, inspired by the extraordinary light and colour of the south of France. And Nice's Bay of Angels has compelled me to attempt something I haven't done for some time.
this is quite a view to be inspired by, isn't it? I mean, I'm a kind of tiny bit self-conscious doing this. It's almost like it's a kind of icebreaker, this, because I've honestly not done it for so long. I love painting. I used to do it the whole time. You know, other things, I'm having kids and stuff sort of take over. It's lovely to feel the brush on paper again and just to be sort of standing in the moment. You know, it's lovely being here and thinking of the artists who've come here to paint, so particular Henri Matisse, but he came and moved here. He left Paris and he came, he said it was where he could kind of rest and relax, and he said that it was just such joy to wake up in the morning and be surrounded by the beauty of the light, the sunlight outside, and how that gave him a sort of inner light, how that made him feel good within. And I know that when people have come and painted here, particularly, they found it a real sort of balm for the mind. So Winston Churchill, for instance, he came here and he wrote about painting, and he said that it was the thing that kind of, it sort of saved him. It wasn't that it just made life worth living, that without it he would have plunged into this sort of pit of anxiety and despair. Blue is really hard to get right, so like, why have I picked a C? My favourite colour is red, and I've just spotted some little red canopies down on the beach, so that gives me an excuse to put some red in too. Yeah, I definitely need a bit more practice.
What a fantastic way, though, to spend the afternoon. It's just whizzed by in blissful mindfulness. But as golden hour approaches, I have an appointment to keep on Nice's delicious beachfront. The French now drink more rosé than they do white wine, so I need to appreciate just what's going on. Victoria Todorovska is a wine sommelier who came here for the life-changing food and wine, so I reckon she's going to enlighten me.
So it's perfect that we're meeting because, first of all, I'm a bit of a fan of rosé.
Oh, yeah?
And this is kind of rosé world, isn't it, down here?
It is rosé world.
Victoria grew up in a region of Macedonia where winemaking was part of the fabric of her childhood.
But why rosé here? Why is it particular to this part of the
Wow,
world?
a couple of reasons. One is just weather. It's really hot. It would be really hard to drink red wine on a summer day here.
Yes.
We spend a lot of time outdoors, a lot of time on the beach, so chilled rosé is the perfect thing. This area grows mostly red grapes, and rosé is made from red grapes. So traditionally speaking, that's why rosé was established here. In fact, the first wines ever made in the world were rosés.
I mustn't feel guilty about drinking it now because it's, you know, it's a very historic pursuit.
Yes.
Let's drink some.
Okay.
Not just talk about it. I'd love to.
This is the part I'm most excited about. So I'll pour 2 rosés for us. So they're both from Provence. They're different appellations. And we'll start with a small tasting. The first one is lighter. It's more of a rosé that we would serve at aperitifs. And so cheers to you.
Cheers. Oh my God, that's
Notice
so
how
delicious.
refreshing that is on the palate, right?
I'm noticing how
Kind
refreshing.
of citrusy and palate cleansing, and it makes you want to take the next sip of wine.
Yeah.
So I have another one, which is what we would call in France vin gastronomique, meaning wine that goes better with food. And so this wine, we'll taste it. Even on the nose, it's a little stronger than the first one. It has more personality, as I like to say. So this wine goes really well with pissaladière. So this is the traditional onion tart of Nice, and it pairs really well with that acidity of the rosé. So let's taste.
And it's interesting again, this, because it's sort of, you know, we're here in France. How you're describing it, this almost sounds more Italian.
Yeah. So we have a strong link with Italy. Nice was part of the Kingdom of Sardinia until 1860. So it's been part of France for a very short time, and it has a very Italian culture. The colors are very Italian, the spirit of the people, the mentality and how people speak with their hands and everything else, the fact that we live life outdoors.
It's pretty lovely, this, Victoria, I've got to say. Sitting here as the sun's beginning to kind of sink in the sky, all you can hear behind you are kids having a lovely time in the sea.
Yeah.
Not one, but two kinds of rosé on the table.
You like the wines. Do you have a preferred one? Why? And why? I'm always curious to know what people prefer.
I know. They're both delicious. I've definitely got to drink a bit more of both. So I can remember.
This is the best answer I've heard in a long time.
I know. I can
Life
see why you
doesn't
moved
get
to.
any better.
It doesn't get much better.
Chin to our health,
To our
as we
health.
say.
To our health.
It seems that the good life is about recognising and embracing the things that enhance and nurture your life and that of others. Whether that's great art, or a breathtaking view, or a glass of rosé on the beach with a new friend.
It has been such a joy to just wend my way through France on the trail of the good life. But our journey really has only just begun, because now I'm going to go and try and discover the delights and secrets of Italy.